The biggest thing that I have found from the people that I've talked to that are kind of just getting into this game, or the young adults, is the fact that they get overwhelmed with this and they feel as though they're uninformed.
The millennial generation is as follows.
Welcome to
Surrounded by Idiots
Radio Podcast.
In the shadow of Camelback Mountain in the beautiful, picturesque, touristy city of Scottsdale, Arizona, this is the Surrounded by Idiots Radio Podcast. Hey, how you doing? This is Tony Dufresne, PhD, back with you. And now that we have all that nonsense out of the way, this is obviously, if you've listened before or if you've tuned in, you're going to realize that this is about, I am about empowering you to help yourself be the better version of yourself, the best version of yourself. Little tips and tricks and stuff. Now, today I wanted to bring up something that's really important and something that I've been clamoring about. I've been yipping at you about for now a while now. And for those of you who don't live in the States or who are not citizens of the United States who can vote, stay with me on this because it matters that everybody votes. Everybody that has a chance. Now, there are about 100 and so plus or minus countries that you guys have actually downloaded this show, and I know in looking at it, there are a number of those countries that are not as, let's just say, open to free elections as others are, and as the United States is. If you listen to this and it resonates with you, and you have friends in the States or you have friends in other places that they actually do vote, let them know what an amazing privilege it is to vote and how much power that we have. And people have died throughout the years to have us to gain this privilege and then to keep this privilege. And some people right now are struggling just to get that privilege. So that's why voting is so goddamn important. And the fact of the matter is this: in the last election, where it was the whole Trump thing happened here in the States, only 58% of the people, eligible voters, voted. 58%. That's it. And in the midterm elections like we're having right now, the ones that are in between, not the presidential elections, but the ones for senators and representatives and city stuff, about 40% of eligible voters typically vote. Do you know why we're at the position that we're at? Because most of the voters that do vote are the older voters. Because they're retired, or they are more concerned about where things go because they're more aware of things. Only 1 in 5 eligible voters between the ages of 18 and 25 voted. 1 in 5. 4 out of 5 eligible voters between 18 and 25 didn't vote. What the fuck, man? And the thing is that then this kind of stuff happens, the stuff that's happening right now, and then people are all flipped out about it. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. I can't believe this. Yet they don't go to register, or they don't vote. They don't vote being informed. They get the ballot, or they go and they just kind of scribble in whatever the case may be, or based upon their particular party that most of the time that either their parents were a part of or not a part of, depending upon how their relationship with their parents went. So that's why I want to do this real quick. It's not a tutorial, but I'm going to give you an idea of how to be a more informative voter for this midterm election. Now, the first thing is obviously registering to vote. If you haven't done that yet, there are a lot of states where at this point in time, and it's October the 22nd right now, where you've missed the boat this time, which is a real big bummer, because this is really, really important to the point where there are a lot of people out there, a lot of press people, journalists indicating, political scientists that are indicating that this is one of the most important votes ever, because it's going to really put policy or shift policy in one particular direction or another. That being the case, if you didn't register, then there's still time in some states. That's what I'm trying to say. So I would like you to go to this website, and I'm going to put this on my site. You go to nationalvoterregistrationday.org, or just Google National Voter Registration Day. Now, that day was already passed. It was the beginning of October. But on there, it goes into, and it gives you the ability to go to whatever state. You click on the little link. You can go to whatever state that you're in, and you can see when your registration deadline is, and then if you can do it online, or if you have to do it in person somewhere. It's just a really easy way to do it, and then you're in. and then it gives you the ability, if it is online, it gives you the ability to register to vote. Then you're in. Don't worry about picking a party if you just don't have a preference. To just put independent. Most of the people in the country are independent anyway. So just put in no party affiliation, and then you kind of learn along the way. So that's that part, just to get that part out of the way. Now, if you have registered already, there's obviously two things that you can do. Either you get the mail-in ballot, so the home ballot comes to you, like I did. And I'm going to go over that real quick. Came in a yellow envelope here, and of course I'm in the Phoenix area, and so I'm in Maricopa County, Phoenix, Arizona. And this is what we get. We get a thing like this, and in there you get this little voter packet, kind of a general election thing. There's a lot of shit that comes with this, and that's why I want to go through this. This comes, don't really worry a whole lot about the small thing. This is the mail back thing that you're going to have to put your ballot in. And then you have to sign it on the back and date it down here. And then you send it in. And then they give you a little voting instruction thing. The voting instruction thing, and this may or may not be similar to you, but I'm going through it just in case you do get something like this. It's simple. It's not that tough. You guys listening to this show for sure can go through this. You just have to take a few minutes. And that's why I'm just saying it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes to become a more informative voter. And just go through, open up your ballot, and then, in my case, here in Maricopa County, we have this thing where we've got like an arrow with a space in the middle for the different people. And then whoever we want to vote for, we have to fill it in between see the arrow right there? We have to fill it in, and then that's the person that we're going to vote for. Me, black or blue ink. Some other people here have punch things, and when you go to the ballots, obviously there could be some different things too, but that's kind of the gist of it. Now, this is the ballot, and this is the big reason why I want to talk about this. Now, I already filled mine out, and I don't give a shit if you know who I vote for or not. Now, I'm a registered Republican. I have been since I was 18 years old. The Republican Party, my personal opinion is the party now is not the party I signed up for at all. So I vote more as an independent now. Actually, an independent that's aware of needed social issues. And the fact is I just want to be kind. The older I get, the more I understand about us. We need to work together as a team and be kind. And it's not just about me and getting my thing, and then everybody else can go fuck themselves. And that's really where it's coming around in terms of the Republican way about doing it. And then they're scared shitless. Again, remember I told you in a previous conversation, it's just about the old white voters getting scared because they're not the majority anymore and they're losing power. And so this is like the last grasp. And Trump is just a big buffoon figurehead of all of this fear. And he's really good at pushing buttons. And he pushes these people's buttons and gets them scared shitless even more. And they just take the bait and they run with it. And that's why things are happening where they're happening. So this is the ballot. And, of course, in filling out the obvious stuff for if you have senators or House of Representatives, of course, we're not doing president this time. That's why they call it the midterms. This is not for president. But you have, of course, in mind, I have a senator that I'm voting for. For Senator Jeff Flake left, and so there's a replacement that's needed for him. I also have my representative in Congress because they come up every 2 years, and so I've got that. And then the governor race here in Arizona, I've got that, and so stuff like that, state senator and all that. Now, when it gets down to the parts where you don't hear a lot about them, like state senator, state representative, maybe even the secretary of state. Or even for here, we have a state mine inspector. Who the hell knows what? There's like 5 people in the state that knows what a state mine inspector is outside of the mining industry. So when it gets down to that and to the corporation's commissioner and to the clerk of you probably look at this like my daughter does. And by the way, we've been very, very good on voting every single time. She's done an amazing job at exercising her privilege to vote. But when it gets down to that kind of stuff and council members and stuff, there are no ads for those people except for the signs that you see on the side of the road and maybe a radio ad or maybe a quick ad in the middle of the night. So that's where this other stuff comes in. And that's why this is about being an informative voter, especially when it comes to on the back. you're going to get like judges. Should we keep judges? Yes or no? And you may or may not have this on yours, but if you do something like this, because judges, you know how important judges are? Have you ever been in front of a judge? Do you know how important that is to have somebody up there that knows what they're doing and that is chill and understandable about your particular predicament? That's why this is really important. Shall we vote to keep them or retain them? You have the power to vote to keep or let go of a crappy judge. You have it. But you have to kind of look in terms of, how do you know? There's like 50 of them on here. How do I know which ones are good, bad? I'm going to tell you. Here's the informative part. So, you're going to get a bunch of shit in the mail like this, like these flyers. She's a representative running, and of course, what they do is if she's a Democrat, and so this is all the people that she recommends, of course. And then you've got the same thing with Republicans. You've got I even got one from water commissioners, and then they all banded together. These 4 of them banded together, and they're kind of advertising on the same ballot for clean water for the Water Commission. You're going to get a bunch of this kind of stuff. Should you follow it? No, not necessarily. If you're a Republican or a Democrat and you're just going to vote the party line, then of course you're going to. You're going to find out who's supporting who, and then you're going to support them. But what if you're not? And what if you don't know? Here's what you do. Here for me, I got this big old. There's like 170 pages. Pretty overwhelming, right? It's a what's on the ballot thing. And I got this from Maricopa County. It's for the general election. It's a pamphlet. And it goes out to all registered voters. Also, that's not all. Also got this. This is and for you guys on YouTube and watching the video, this is a way better deal. So if you're listening to the podcast, you should check the video out because it gives you an idea of what we have. This is from the city of Scottsdale. This is just the city. Just the city on different stuff and questions. They call it questions or propositions about changing city code and stuff. This is 54 pages, and this has got a lot of stuff in it. So this is just for the city, right? Then there is a voter education guide that comes along with this. So you're looking at all the stuff that you get in the mail, right? All this stuff from all of the candidates and all of the political action committees. By the way, political action committees are just people with a lot of money trying to sway your vote. So I wouldn't put a lot of stock in what they say on the flyers. Then you've got all of this stuff. I mean, this is just me. It could be more, or it could be a little bit less for you. But I'm saying I got like 250 pages of stuff. And if I was to look at this and I was new to the voting thing, I would probably look at this and go, holy shit, this is totally overwhelming. I'm not going to go through all this. I don't have time to do all this stuff. I'm trying to go to school full time, and I got a job, and I'm trying to do my side gig, and my girlfriend's calling me to go hang out, and I got to figure out what I'm going to get for her birthday, or for Christmas is coming up. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, but that's why I'm saying don't let this stuff overwhelm you. There's a way to get around all of this within like 10 minutes. Here's how you do it. When you come up against a situation on the ballot to where you don't know what is what, I'm going to take this for example, like your central water conservation or your county superintendent or something. Take a look. If it's the county, go to your county thing, because each one of these is going to have different stuff. So you go to your county thing, and in your table of contents, you're going to look up, and in the table of contents, it's going to say your ballot propositions. Right, and so you can go through, and it'll just have it'll have the basic right here on the ballot propositions. It'll have the full proposition written out, but it's a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, and you're not going to read all of that anyway. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the what does this really mean? It's kind of the summation of it, and then you're going to go, and then they have arguments for and arguments against. Everybody gets an opportunity beforehand to submit a little paragraph about why they want you to vote for this or why they don't. And it tells you who is saying that and really the reasons why they're saying that. You get an idea of where people lie in terms of if they're progressive, liberal, or if they're conservative based on how many people are on the pros or the cons, how many people want the proposition passed or how many people don't and where they lay. But it's going to give you a really good idea of really what's involved. And please read both the fors and againsts, because as much as the fors, you might say something in regards to the ballot proposition, and it'll say, well, it does this and this, or it lowers taxes, and you think, okay, great, why not lower taxes? Then when you read the fors, of course, they're going to say, yeah, because it lowers taxes and it's less regulation or whatever the case. And you're going to go, oh, that's great, I'm just going to vote for that. Well, instead of doing that, take a look and look at the against as well and read through there, because there's a really good chance that the same ballot measure, although that's a good thing to you, let's say, lowering taxes, there might be other alternatives, or it might be better for a no vote because of other results except for that. So that's why it's a really good idea. And you don't have to read through all of them. I'm just saying, just go through when the ballot comes up, or the proposition comes up, you go, okay, go to the page, read a couple here, read a couple there, and then you can make an informed decision. Because the biggest thing that I have found from the people that I've talked to that are kind of just getting into this game, or the young adults, is the fact that they get overwhelmed with this and they feel as though they're uninformed. There was just a thing that came out on, that was CNN, somewhere, about the reasons why people don't vote. And the reasons why most of the time is because they don't feel as though they're informed enough. And they get all this stuff and they get totally overwhelmed. So that's what I'm saying. There's a way to go about doing it. Just use these as references. As like, in school, when you don't read the whole history book, you go through, you use it as a reference, and you hit the reviews and the summaries and stuff. Same thing with these things. And the thing is that it really, when you take a quick look just at the table of contents and all of these things, it's really, most of this one is just, first of all, the fact is that half of it's in Spanish, but the other half is, it gives you a really good idea of, it gives you a little, in terms of voting for people like, for my representative, it gives you a really good, this is the part in Spanish, but it gives you a really good idea of, the people that are running, and a little thing about why they're running and what they stand for. So you get a really good idea. And then you can kind of make an informed decision. You're not going to know everything about them. And I wouldn't listen to all the ads on TV, because it's like we have a really brutal race here for senator between Kristen Sinema, who's the Democrat, and Martha McSally, who's the Republican, and they're slinging shit back and forth on this. It looks like Kristen Sinema tried to take the high road at the beginning, but McSally's just going for the jugular, so they're battling back and forth. But the thing is that it's all about perspective, and if you're coming from a perspective of making somebody look crappy, you know how this works, right? You're going to find that little flaw, and you're going to exploit it. It's like people do with you and I all the time. You could be a great person and get out there and do your thing and what that, but if you have a little lisp or something, or if you're extra tall for your age, or extra skinny, or got a few extra pounds on you, a person will be able to take that if they're a dick, and they'll be able to exploit that to make you feel bad and to make you feel less than, and to try to get others to feel like you were less than as well. That's going to happen all the time. So that's why, in terms of listening to all the advertisements and stuff, I would say, if you don't know who, and if you're one of the independents, or if you're new to the game, just go through this stuff. I'm telling you, it's not that tough. It's very easy. Look at the table of contents, and that's how you get through all of these things, especially when it comes to, if you guys have the judges thing, and again, it's really important. The judge thing is really important, and this could be daunting. There's a lot. There's like 50 on here, but in this packet here, actually, it has an entire section to where the judges are rated. And they're rated by other judges, and they're rated by the lawyers that work with them, including the public defenders and the advocates that work with them. So you get a really good idea really quickly of what judge is just being a douchebag or not, and it gives you ratings on them, like anywhere in like 3 or 4 different categories. So if you see a judge that some people, lawyers, their fellow judges, advocates that are in the court system, that have found, if there's like more than 5 or 6 of them that said this guy's a douche, and that's in the book, and you'll be able to see that. If you notice that, or if their ratings are really low, because most of the ratings are like 97%, 98% for most of the judges. And if you see one at 65%, then you're going to say, no, I'm not going to vote that guy back in. Then that is where you go through and you put I'm not doing it. And on this one, for me, there's only one guy. There's only one guy who people are like, no, not going to happen. And he was a judge at the Superior Court. Everybody else got good grades. So it was really easy. I put the no for him, and I looked through to make sure there aren't any other no's, and then I went through and just did yeses. Done. Took me like 3 minutes. There's like 50 of them. Took me 3 minutes because I knew there was only one guy that nobody liked. And so of course I took their word for it. I mean, I can't sit there with 50 different judges and kind of figure it out. But you got to look at something in terms of being informed. This is as informed as we're going to get. And that's the whole point. So please, please, please don't let all of this stuff overwhelm you. Don't let the signs overwhelm you. Do not let the ads influence you in any particular way, because the ads are just a spin on whatever the other person or whatever they're trying to spin on for themselves, or what the other person's trying to spin on them. And it's just trying to influence you without you being informed in a certain way. So go through the books. It's not that tough. Fill out your ballot. And if you are going to be going to the ballot, like walk up to a ballot, it's on a Tuesday, and it is if you can get there early, get there early. Getting there on your lunch break and then having a really long line, then you're screwed. Although they're open till later, just please vote. It's so important that you do. Again, if you look at it, you're voting, and your vote's worth more than one vote, because ultimately 50% of people aren't going to vote. So really, your vote's worth 2 or more. And it's really important for you to be a voice and to exercise your privilege to vote. That's all I have to say about this. If you have any questions about this, or if you are from a different country and you're like, hell yeah, oh God, I wish I had the chance to vote. I'd be waiting in line the whole damn day to put my ballot in. That's what we don't understand here. Again, it's just it's an entitlement. The people just don't realize how important it is. And you can't. And again, like everybody says, and I totally agree with it. If you don't vote, then don't bitch. You have no right at all to speak about anything if you don't exercise your right to vote politically. If you don't exercise your right to vote, if you have exercised your right to vote, then say hell yeah, and then go off and do your thing. But if not, then shut the fuck up. Come on, it's not that hard. So register if you can already. If you haven't already, then see if you can, and then do your thing. Fill out your ballot at home, or when you do go in, this is going to take a long time if you're sitting in the ballot box. So instead of doing that, they usually give you one that you can fill out at home. Do all your stuff at home, and then go in with your filled one out, and then just copy it over. It makes it so much easier and faster, and it keeps the line moving. So those are your tips. I hope things are good. If you have any questions or comments, or if you have any other tips about the voting thing, shoot me a line. Shoot me a message at tony@javabud.com. You can also go to 2javabud.com for all the other stuff. And again, this is going to be up on YouTube at The Java Bud. And the video might be a little more helpful because I show you all the shit that I get in the mail. And then the stuff that's overwhelming. So I'm mailing this in. I was going to mail it in yesterday. I thought, hey, I'm going to do a show on this, just to show you how all this is really easy. And you can be an informed voter in 10 minutes. And that's what I want you. I pray that you do, me praying. But I really hope that you just take 10 minutes and just kind of take a quick look at this stuff, become an informed voter, fill your ballot out, or your at-home ballot out, and go to the ballot box, and please, please vote. I cannot stress that more. We really need to have some sane people get to the polls and shift this tide back into normal, healthy, everybody trying to help each other out type of a mentality, instead of this scared, go fuck yourself mentality, which is going to destroy us if we let that continue. So I hope things are good. Go vote, and I'll talk to you next week.